Greetings, Mr. Triston. How are you?
Hello, I'm very good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very good. And I must say, it must be a very good morning for you over there. It's like an early morning where you stay, correct?
It is, yeah. So I'm blessed to be here in Mallorca in the Balearic Islands in Spain. And yeah, it's morning and it's looking like it's going to be a beautiful day.
I'm so glad. And thank you so much for accepting our invitation to come, for the talk. So basically, like a ritual, I'm always going to invite you with a small chant that we have. I'll just play that for you.
Oh, awesome.
Welcome on Sadhguru Sadupdesh.
Thank you. First time I've started an interview with such a beautiful welcome. Thank you for that, Sachin. I love it.
That's so sweet of you. And the reason why we wanted to speak to you, this is Sadhguru Sadupdesh. We are an organization. We spread wisdom. We spread talk about, things that help raise the vibrations of the humanity and the things around, not necessarily just humanity, excuse me, but everything around. And looking at your work, Mr. Triston, I must tell all of the people out there, all our viewers right now, that this person is the person who will help you in one very important thing that you miss daily and without which you can't live. It's called breathing. Am I correct, Mr. Triston?
That is correct, yeah.
So would you like to please shed some light on what does correct breathing, why do we need to breathe correct? It's a very, I must say, it's a very kiddish question I'm asking, because this is one thing we need to do correctly. But coming from the masters, reference, we would like to hear more about that from you.
Yeah, so it's a topic I love, and I've been exploring this world for about 7 years. And actually, the journey started for me watching a podcast that Mr. Sadhguru has been on, the Joe Rogan Experience. He had a guy on there that was talking about the breath, and I was fascinated by just the things that you can achieve through the power of the breath. I've done certain breathing as part of yoga practices and yoga classes, but it's an amazing thing, the power of the breath. There's so many different modalities, and what I'm fascinated by is there's two sides to it, really. So like the functional side of breathing, which is optimizing it day to day for your health, for getting your body's systems working correctly, sleeping correctly, and the key things I would say for people to breathe correctly day to day while you sleep and while you exercise, what you should aim for is breathing through the nose, breathing slowly, breathing lightly without sound, and breathing deeply into the belly using the diaphragm. And that's the way that the breathing mechanism is designed to work. So that's kind of like one side, is the very scientific, functional side. But then as I dove into the world of breath work, I also found sort of more transformative methods of breath work, which for me just changed my life. I was working in big corporates for 15 years in really stressed out jobs. And then I'd tried different forms of meditation because I'd found, I'd heard lots of people extolling the virtues of meditation. I found it really difficult. And I do think often the people that need the meditation the most are the ones that find it the most difficult. And what I found in the power of breathing was a way that I could access those benefits, and but in a more beginner's form, if you like, that I would show up and it's breath work. So I found if I did the work, if I did the breathing, I would be able to access those deeper states of consciousness, remove my conscious mind out of the equation, and then amazing things would happen. And what the benefits I found of that is I was able to connect more with my emotions. as a man that had suppressed lots of feelings and emotions over the years. And that helped me not only to connect better with myself and also to connect with others. But I was also able to get my conscious mind out of the way and see more what my purpose was in life, because I'd worked in a corporate all my life. I knew that I wanted to do something different, but I didn't know what. But all the pieces were there in the back of my mind. And so the idea for my first business came out of after a breathwork session when I was just, it's almost like a download from somewhere, call it the universe, call it God, whatever, but it was there. And yeah, if you'd have told me that you could do that through breathing before I explored this world, I'd have thought you were crazy.
That's really nice. In fact, listening to you, I do now relate to how in our yogic system, if particularly you are able to breathe, for example, a 6 breath per minute, you can reach a different dimension. If you are able to slow it down to 10 or 4, so you are going to touch the different dimensions of the ether that actually exists. And in fact, it's a very beautiful system that we all forget how to make use of it. But brilliant people like you and all the masters around, when they do spread this word, it's really an honor to understand it from you. Because I would like to ask you one very simple question, and it always intrigues my mind, Mr. Triston, that why when you're a child you don't need to learn how to breathe, and when you're actually a mature person you need to learn how to breathe. So is it that children are much more mature than us, or it's a divine process that we try to interfere with when we grow up?
Yeah, it's a great question, because you're absolutely right. When you look at a newborn baby breathing, it's beautiful in complete flow, just natural as the human body was designed to do, and everything works perfectly. But what happens over years and years and years is we all create a different breathing pattern, and it happens through breathing deviations are created when we experience fear, or we get scared, or we experience trauma. Our body's natural reaction is to hold our breath. Maybe when we get nervous before meeting someone amazing like you, maybe the body's natural reaction is to, hold your breath if we're not conscious about these things. And, these patterns create breathing deviations over years and years and years. But there's also psychological reasons as well. If we think we're overweight and we're holding our belly in, that creates breathing deviations. Or lots of different ways that we think can also create breathing deviations. And what happens is that day to day, the way that we breathe, then that affects our health. But the good news is that you can get through these breathing deviations. So if you work with someone that understands how the breath works, you can retrain the body to breathe as it should. And one of the breathing methodologies that I work with clients that helps me access these deep states, the way that we do it is so simple. But it's just taking you back to how you breathed as a child, and you breathe yourself into this deep meditative flow state just by breathing as you should. And what it also does, it's very healing for the body because it corrects any breathing deviations. But yeah,
Super. That's really great. So basically, one thing is confirmed by the master today, that it is we who ruin our breath ourselves. So we are the culprits. It is all inside us, and we are the one who were taught unintentionally how to breathe properly, and our intentions create the mess basically. That's a good thing. We know that it's all messed up by us humans, and we need to then get to the roots of it. Mr. Triston, I know there is a lot of time constraint, and you also have your activities for the day lined up. And just before going, I would like to ask you to give us few advices to the listeners, to the people, the viewers who are listening to you right now. Few techniques which you feel in such a small span of time can do really great wonders to them. If you can please tell us about something like that.
Yeah, so there's a lot that you can do with the breath. So you can go really deep into sort of like guided practices, but there's also really quick techniques that you can use to do really powerful things in your life. So a couple that I'll share is if you're struggling to breathe through your nose day to day, some people suffer with allergies or blocked nose. There's a really quick technique that you can do to release some of that congestion, and I'll just show you that really quickly. So what you do is you take your right thumb and place it under your left cheek. There's a sinus under there, which can get blocked, and if you just press slightly on it and then pull your ear slightly, breathe for 10 seconds in and out through your nose, should start to feel a bit clearer already, and then swap to the other side. Breathe for 10 seconds, should clear. And then I wouldn't recommend breath holds if you're pregnant, but then if it's safe to do so, what I would do is breathe in through the nose, pinch your nose, tip your head back, and then hold for as long as feels comfortable. And then once you need to take a breath, drop the head back down, breathe in and out gently through the nose, and things should be a lot clearer. And then what you can do is you can repeat that 3 to 5 times, and you should feel that your nose is really clear. I like to do this one before I go to sleep if I'm feeling a bit congested, because breathing through the nose is really healing for the body, and there's a lot of benefits to nose breathing, but a lot of people breathe through the mouth. They reckon about 50% of the population breathe through the mouth when they're sleeping. So that I would say is one quick one, and then a second one. If you're feeling a bit anxious, nervous, or just a little bit stressed, a really nice technique to quickly relax your nervous system is taking a double inhale through the nose and then letting a vocal sigh out through the mouth. So looking something like this. And if you do even just a few breaths of that can be really relaxing. I like to do 5 minutes of that in the morning, and it just really calms and relaxes my nervous system. So there's a couple of techniques, but if anyone, I like to share lots of these little tips. So if anyone wants to come and check me out on social media, you'll see more of these free tips on there.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Mr. Triston. And I'm going to put all your social media links on our channel so that, everyone who's watching, they can at least connect and get some benefit, because the basics of life is to first breathe and then do anything in the life. In fact, I love your double technique, because I've tried that few times. When you go the second breath, when you take the last one, when there's nothing left, I remember seeing that video of yours where you just have to take the second last and then just so that really helps a lot. And I must thank you so much for coming on the TalkCast that we are doing right now, spreading wisdom about ourselves. Sadhguru, Sadupdesh, we are trying to just spread the wisdom given by the grace of the gurus. We are trying to get connecting people. We are bringing our now platform on the Web3. It's going to be the world's first platform, in fact, that is going on Web3, and the meditators can now access it over there. So a lot of things are coming up. But today, after talking to you, definitely the neurotherapists of our organization need to understand that. I'm telling that on the camera, because otherwise if I go and tell them, they will always take it maybe lightly or not. But I'm telling it on interview that all our organizations, neurotherapists, you need to look at this person and understand, if you don't breathe well, nothing will happen. So introduce that definitely, and please get Mr. Triston on board for helping us breathe properly. Thank you so much for being with us, and the video will be shared very soon. I hope everyone gets some insight from you. Any last word before going from the master himself?
I would say just, if you've never explored the power of breathing, it's a fascinating world and you can do so much with it. It's beautiful, and, it's making a resurgence after it's almost like an ancient wisdom that's been forgotten in some parts of the world, but it's great that it's coming back now, because you can do so much with it for the mind, body and the soul. So yeah, if you're intrigued, I would recommend diving in and exploring more, because it's very powerful.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Triston, for giving us time. See you soon. Let's all breathe well.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much.
Great work.